stars. I just wanna dance among the stars. 'Cause after hours got me charged.
I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God.
I am only interested in making you Paramashiva, making you enlightened, making you manifest your Buddhahood, making you manifest your Shivahood. The subatomic particle quarks is the Bindu, the life energy, and Nada is the force which creates energy field. He says, Arunagirinada is a great master. He puts Nada as first, Bindu second. Because Bindu by its own existence is Shava. Only when the Nada is added to it, it becomes Shiva. That is what Tantra Shastra describes as Kali lying on the ground. Shiva lying on the ground and Kali standing on it. She is Nada, the binding force, and the Shiva is Bindu. Unless the Nada acts as a binding force, Bindu has no action. Nothing is possible by the Bindu. The sound is responsible for what you are. So sound is responsible for the sickness you carry, whether physically or mentally. If the energy field which binds the quarks is responsible for your disease and depression, if that energy field is altered, naturally the disease and depression will be cured, healed. Understand? By its very nature, quarks has no disease. It is pure consciousness. Only Nada is responsible for the disease or health, depression or expression. So it is Nada is responsible. You can work only on Nada. You cannot work on Bindu. Bindu is beyond consumption, the pure consciousness. So all healing systems works on Nada. Of course, if it is a real healing system. Any healing happens only when the work happens on Nada. You can work only on Nada, you cannot work on Bindu. It's a basic truth. So all healings happens on the energy of Nada. So, two ways you can work on Nada. One, creating the right sound and repairing the wounded Nada. That is what is done through mantra.
The next question is from Dr. Shanti from Bangalore. Nithyanandam, beloved Swamiji, Shashtanga Namaskars at your divine lotus feet. Can you please let us all know why majority women go through so much pain, anxiety and stress during birthing process through these most beautiful, cherishing and fulfilling moments in their life? In few fortunate women who practiced meditation, yoga, power of visualization, listening to music and divine chanting, birthing has been a great joyful experience with minimal pain and stress. Can you please clarify?
Human beings have the tendency to go through the pain and suffering even during the expansion. That is why even when the wealth comes, to human beings which they were seeking with their whole life, the responsibility brings suffering and pain to them to maintain the wealth. Same way, when expansion of life happens in the form of birthing, giving birth to a child, the responsibility body is not able to take. That is why it goes through pain, suffering and torture. Otherwise, the birthing experience is a spiritual experience. The great possibility of expansion happens to an individual when it expands into another own life. The moment of birthing can be used for the enlightenment of both individuals who is giving birth and who is getting birth. So, every moment the child takes birth, the child has a possibility for enlightenment, mother has a possibility for enlightenment. If both of them take the responsibility, both can get enlightened. Even if the child is not capable of taking the responsibility, mother can take the responsibility and she can get enlightened. Birthing is great possibility of enlightenment, as it is extension and expansion process of individual body and consciousness. When the birthing happens, if the child is kept without the umbilical cord being cut for at least few minutes, then the mother can experience two souls. The moment child comes out, the individual soul enters. Mother has one individual soul, the child has another one individual soul. The umbilical cord connection exists between two souls. Mother taking up the responsibility of birthing and preparing her consciousness for 9 months, and while giving the birth, she can achieve enlightenment. And after the birthing happens, without cutting the umbilical cord, if you remain, keep the child as it is, the individual soul which enters the child's body will have the initiation from the enlightened mother through the umbilical cord, which is the most powerful connection. The umbilical cord initiation directly makes the child experience enlightenment, and enlightened biomemory basis forms the basic experience of the child. When the enlightened biomemory forms the basis of a child, naturally child will grow as Jivan Mukta, living enlightened. Today I am continuing on the same sutras. Yesterday's sutras, the 119th sutra, chapter 3rd and 30th verse, 1/3 verse. Altered states of awareness. Etena bhuta indriyeshu dharma lakshana avastha parinama vyakyataha. I think I read out the translation yesterday. Today I will start exploring one dimension of this sutra. Yesterday I was revealing one truth related to this sutra. One, when you expand your understanding about the different states of awareness, your fear, greed, joy, everything changes. Naturally, many of the problems which you think as problem disappears. When the awareness is too clouded, too narrow, sees even a mustard seed as mountain. Please understand. I'll define enlightenment. Enlightenment means having expanded complete understanding about the cosmos continuously, an ability to maintain that understanding in your muscle memory and bio memory continuously. That's all. I'll give you one example. If you sit and watch some movie which is related to space, where they explain in a very detailed and in a very interesting way sun, moon, other stars, other galaxies, the whole cosmos. You see that kind of a movie, especially if you see in IMAX theater. For 3 hours, you are completely transported to a different space. Suddenly, when you come back and understand, oh, you are coming back to the planet Earth, and your continent, your country, and your state, your city, your village, finally the compound where you are staying. You will feel, oh God, such a huge universe. What are we? Small dust and ants, human beings. We are fighting for such silly things. I always used to feel whenever I land in a flight, when you are there, the whole universe, the whole cosmos is there. By the time the flight lands into the compound wall of the airport, you know this useless, idiotic system of the state, country, politics, ownership, land. When the aircraft is landing inside the compound, when the compound wall of the airport is growing and growing around you, you just know, God. Where was I and where am I? That is exactly I feel whenever I open my eyes. Where was I? Where am I? All happens in you is just desha. See, Patanjali here uses the word, very beautiful word. He uses the word bhuta. Just you had an understanding about bhuta, elements. For the 2 hours when you saw that IMAX movie, or the 2 hours when you are in the flight, you had a broad understanding about elements, that's all. Just that one understanding has suddenly shifted you to a different space. If you can catch what I am saying, you will understand. To us, if you see some movie related to space, and slowly get back to this so-called ugly, dirty, third-rate, abused reality. That is the truth. The moment you enter land, the moment aircraft lands on the airport, you know your very consciousness is getting into a kind of an ideological prison. Wow, now it is this state, this country, These are the law, these are the rule, these are the regulation, this is the way you are supposed to act. Poor human beings. If you just have the understanding of an element for only 2-3 hours, how you feel when you come back to this foolishness. Oh God, how nice it will be if I stay there itself. I am giving you one example. I have seen when the flight is high in the sky, whole thing looks like a small dust, and you don't bother who is Prime Minister, who is President, who is Chief Minister, who is Governor, who is police, who is lawyer, who is judge. The moment you land, especially slowly when the walls of the airport is seen bigger and bigger, from there if you see, actually it looks like a matchsticks arranged. When the matchsticks grow to a 10 feet wall, and when you come down, suddenly you realize, oh God, you are in a large prison. Understanding about one element for few hours itself can give such a liberated experience. Then understand all the 5 important factors: time, element, state, awareness, and sense organs. If you understand all these 5 in a very broad way, then understand the depth of the freedom you will experience. A man who never accepts any meditation technique or any ideology related to surrendering or practice, J. Krishnamurti, even he accepts sitting with everyday sunrise and sunset. That is only ritual he promoted his whole life. During sunrise and sunset, he asks you to sit and surrender yourself to the whole. It's a very powerful technique, I tell you. Just during sunrise and sunset, sit. You will suddenly feel, God, universe is too big. Your problems are too small. The foolish few thousand, few hundred acres which you can fence it and have it as yours. And the dirty, foolish things for which you are wasting your whole life is nothing but small pebbles lying around here and there. And the diamond and gold for which you sacrifice your whole life. The exact meaning of Maya is Ya Ma Cha Iti Maya, which is not there but which threatens as if it is there. That is Maya. Which is not there but which threatens as if it is there is Maya. Do not have the repenting mood. Do not have guilt. Do not feel bad. Your religion teaches many gods. I tell you, in Hindu tradition there is some unique concept called Ishta Devata. You can create your own, customize it, tailor it. The concept of Ishtadevata. There are millions and millions of gods. If you are not satisfied, happy with any of them, create your own. So the concept of Ishtadevata, you make your own. Because Bhagavan says very clearly, whoever calls me in whatever form, whoever approaches me in whatever way, I am there for them. Western influenced mind feels perturbed, little disturbed to see pantheon of gods. Why do you want to merge all of them into one? Feel safe, you are under control? No. Each deity is an independent god. Relate with the deity, connect through the deity, and experience the source.
The power of satsanga is so strong, it just makes you sat. Please understand. Whatever you remember, whatever you hear, becomes part of you, even if you try to avoid. That is why Ramakrishna again and again says, during that spiritual growth time, don't try to have the heroism of going and attacking or spending time with negative people and trying to justify, trying to fight with them and change their opinion. Don't do. Just don't listen. That is the best way. Understand? Ramakrishna says, when a banyan tree is sprouting and growing, even a small goat can destroy it. But if it grows, even elephant cannot do anything. You can tie the elephant in the tree, nothing can be done. But when you are growing, you are just a sapling, plant. A small goat can come and spend half an hour with you and destroy your growth. Don't allow that to happen. Don't think, no, I'll face him, I'll change his logic. No. Negativity is sometimes more appealing to you than positive experience, because 80% of you is still in unconscious. I could see during this scandal, so many wonderful disciples, possibility of getting enlightened. They would have just flowered into enlightenment. Just 1 or 2 sessions with unconscious negative people, enough. They were able to destroy the possibility of enlightenment, the very root of Vidarka. Understand? Whenever Krishna says very beautifully, he gives freedom for enlightened beings to do anything. See, enlightened beings have no rule. They can do anything. But he puts one restriction on enlightened beings. They have no right to destroy anybody's faith on anything, even if it is low, dull, muda. He says, very word, even it is a foolish faith. If somebody has a faith on a small stone, the corner of the village, and does puja to that everything, or sacrifices goat, from the viewpoint of an enlightened being, it is very third rate. How can God ask for his own child, a goat? How can animal sacrifice be allowed? It's such a foolishness. I should destroy his faith. Krishna says no. He says no. Even if it is very low level form of faith, you have no right to destroy it. He says, through that they will come step by step, higher and higher, will reach me. Even if it is a muda, the foolishness, superstitious worship, because of their attitude of worshipping, I myself accept that worship in different forms, the names in which they are calling me. That is why Ramakrishna, even after becoming enlightened, realizing his avataric mission, establishing a group of sannyas disciples, he says, I know I cannot accept animal sacrifice, but I will not stop the animal sacrifice in Kali temple, where he is a priest He is a chief priest and he is the practically owner. His word is a direct word of Kali Devi in Dakshineshwar Kali temple. If he wanted in one word, he could have stopped the animal sacrifice. He says, no. I will not disturb their faith. It may not be right. It may not lead them to enlightenment. It may not be right as per my experience. It may not give them the ultimate, but I have no right to destroy anybody's faith, even if it is superstitious. Krishna says, even enlightened beings have no right to destroy somebody's faith, even if it is lowest form. Even if enlightened beings have no right to destroy the lowest form of a faith, what right the lowest fellows have to destroy the faith on enlightened beings? They do not know in what kind of mess they are getting into. Destroying the faith on an enlightened being is the worst conspiracy against the cosmos. I heard there are a few ex-disciples claiming that they are enlightened. Just a few days before I got the news. I said, that's great. If they are, then they should have created their mission. Not that they will be hurting my mission. See, when I grew, when I felt I am much more, I have experienced more, I am growing more, I did not destroy Ramakrishna mission, where I started growing. I just started creating my mission, that's all. When a real growth happens, whether as an enlightenment or realization or experience, you will create your mission, that's all. I just created Nithyananda mission. I did not go and spend my time or waste my time in destroying Ramakrishna mission or catching all the Ramakrishna mission disciples and telling them this is what happens there, that is what happens there, destroying their faith. No. Understand, when spiritual growth or enlightenment happens to you, this is the scale. You will create your mission. You will never destroy somebody's faith on anybody, on anything else, even if it is lowest form.
People ask me, should I even try to change karma? Yes. Change your karma. But remember, karma means the thought current in which you are stuck. The thought current in which you are stuck is karma. Discard it. Change it completely. Karma is not like your Rudraksha mala. If it is broken, you can restring and wear, or you can replace that broken bead with a new bead. Karma is not your Rudraksha mala, it is your diaper. You have to change it completely. Karma is diaper. You have to change it completely. You can't change part of it. You can't wash and reuse. Karma is not your soap or your shampoo or your mala to repair, reuse, wash. No. It is your diaper. When it is smelling, you have to change it completely. Even wash the area it was touching. If you feel stuck, you have to change it completely. even the hand with which you changed it need to be washed. Next question, how do I decide what to change and what not to change in my life? Listen, change everything that can be changed. You can't change which you can't change, leave it. Change everything that can be changed. The most important, the thought current, changing the thought current. Once you change that, everything which can be changed will be changed around you. Blessed are those who have nobody else in their life, who need to be changed when they change, or with whom they feel stuck when they change. Greater blessed of those with whom they share their life also change when they change. Blessed are those who don't have anybody in their life, who need to change when they change. Greater blessed are those who have people who change when you change. If you don't have anybody, you are not stuck with anybody, your change is your change. You don't need to wait for anybody else to change along with you. You are a sannyasi. If you have somebody in your life who changes when you change, you are a real grihastha. If you have somebody to hold you, even when you change, not ready to change, you are householder. Holder. Grihastha is not householder. Grihastha means moving, moving, moving. Graha, sthiti. The sthiti of grahas is moving, changing, changing, changing. If you are in the sthiti of grahas, grihastha. But the very word householder brings a different context. Householder. It is like suddenly after the aircraft lands, you put a bolt and nut and seal that into the runway. That is householder. Grihastha means the plane is let to fly like grahas. Change. Anything can be changed. Change with challenge. Go on challenging. Anything which says, I won't change. Try to change the very change itself. Like how these modern day illegitimate sons of 3M go on, try to claim there was never a mentioned word of Hindu in any ancient scriptures. This word There's no such thing as Hindu religion. How many times you fellows will vomit the same shit? And I have enough reference. In the Shastras, we have been called as Hindus. Again, now I can give you 4 references. But these illegitimate sons of 3M will never go for any original scripture or reference. They just blabber. I'll give you the references we have to prove that we have been described as Hindus in our scriptures. The Meru Tantra, 33rd Prakasha in Saptakalpadruma, Paschimamnaya mantrastu prokta parasya bhashaya Ashtotra sadasidir yesham samsadanat kalau Panchakana saptamaura Navasaha mahabala Hindu dharmam Praloptara jayante chakravartinaha Hinanja dushayatyeva Hindu rit uchyate priye. Translation: in Kali Yuga, by chanting the Paschimamnaya mantra for 80,008 times, will manifest as power kings wise 5 Kana, 7 Maura and 9 Saha, who will destroy the Hindu Dharma. O Devi, the word Hindu literally means those who defeat the evil. And next, I have multiple references. I'll post everything in the Facebook because there's a lot of confusion going on. All the time these illegitimate sons of 3M try to attack our identity as Hinduism and as Hindus. I'm giving you the Shastra Pramanas, the original references, which is at least 3,000-4,000 years old. Scriptures, Idihasas, Brihaspatiya Shastra Pavishya Purana, Himsaya Duyate Yascha Sadacharana Tatpara Vedako Pratima Seki Sa Hindu Mukha Varnabak. யார் ஹிம்சிக்கப்பட்டாலும் எவன் துக்கமடைகிறானோ ஒழுக்கமான வாழ்க்கை நடத்துவதில் முனைப்புடன் உள்ளானோ வேதம் பசு விக்கிரகங்கள் ஆகியவற்றை பக்தியுடன் வழிபடுகிறானோ அவனே ஹிந்து. It's a beautiful translation. I read out in Tamil. I'll give the English translation also and put it in the Facebook with the reference, the original verse, names, the verse details. Then Brihaspatiagama, which is before Christ, 400 years before Christ. The accepted dating itself is 400 years before Christ, but I feel these datings are much earlier. Even the Western historians accepted date is before Christ, 400 years before. It says very clearly, Himalayam முதல் Hindu மகாசாகரம் வரை விரிந்து பறந்து கிடக்கும் தேவர்களால் நிர்மாணிக்கப்பட்ட இந்த தேசம் ஹிந்துஸ்தானம் என்று அழைக்கப்படும். ஜானுஸ்தானே ஜைன சப்த சப்த சிந்துஸ்ததைவச ஹிப்த ஹிந்துர் யாவனீய புனர்ஞேயோ குருண்டிகா. சா என்ற எழுத்து யவனர்களின் பாஷையில் ஹா என்று திரிந்து சப்த சிந்து சப்த ஹிந்துவாய் மாறியது. இது பவிஷ்ய புராணம். Even this is 400 years before Christ. One of the biggest problem with these illegitimate sons of 3M Only to abuse Hinduism, they will accept the Hindu scriptures, but not to get the historical details and facts. Kalina balina kalita kalau num dharma yavanayo ratamakra rajta hindavo vindya mahavinaha. Kalika Puranam. This is also at least 2000 years old. அதர்ம ஆக்கிரமிப்பாளர்களின் படையெடுப்புகளினால் ஏற்படும் பாதிப்புகளிலிருந்து தப்பிக்க இந்துக்கள் விந்தியமலையை கடந்து வந்தார்கள். That's all. So understand, I'll give all this translation, original verse and Sanskrit translation, English translation with the numbers and references of the slokas in the Facebook. Just read. These illegitimate sons of 3M, they don't bother about the real history and all. What they talk is more like a masturbation. They just talk and they are satisfied and go to sleep. That's it. They don't care about Shastras, any reference or answers. It's not that they want to do a very research. It's not that they are interested in truth. It is they are interested in just masturbating and vomiting something. They blabber and okay. But all my disciples who are very sincere and interested in finding the truth, I am giving you the references and the truths. Take it and spread it to whoever wants to listen to the truth. Whoever is interested in their masturbation, let them go and be with. We are not interested. Whoever is interested in truth, they can come and you can give them the truth as it is.
Google the word Ananda Gandha. The only reference you will get is our Jnanapeetham message. Nowhere you will get any reference. Nobody has used. Nobody, you see, if they know, they did not reveal it to public. If they are able to reveal it to public market, they didn't know. The science maintained, not even in the hands of enlightened beings, in the hands of only incarnations. It comes from eternal silence. Ananda Gandha the science delivered to planet Earth only when incarnations land in planet Earth. I can say this is the ID card of incarnations. Social security number. Driving license, maybe I can say flying license. That is why the truth, the secret knowledge about Ananda Gandha first time becomes available to the mass, because it is only now the necessity to reach the mass and possibility to reach the mass for enlightened beings have happened. One, the necessity to reach the mass has happened only now because there is no one geography dedicated to the enlightenment science. Till my last predecessor, there was always one geography dedicated to this great truths. They don't need to reach to the mass. If they create one group and create that, transmit that science, it's done and they take care. But unfortunately, after the India's independence, worst calamity happened to the planet Earth is the geography dedicated to enlightenment is destroyed.
it lost its uniqueness in the name of pseudo-secularism. Understand, real secularism is taking the essence of all religions and using it, experiencing it. But the pseudo-secularism, discarding all great truths of all religions and living your own materialistic culture. Anyhow, so the planet Earth is now swindled. So now the necessity to reach the mass has happened. Second thing, the possibility to reach the mass has also happened.
See, ultimately, whether Grihastha or Sannyasi, inner space has to become Sannyasi. It's only when the inner space becomes a Sannyasi, enlightenment happens. Fundamentally, in inner space there's no change. Whether you can be this or that. Only in the outer space there is a certain kind of an idea. What I am saying, if you think your inner space itself will be different for sannyasi and grihastha, I don't think you are right. So inner space is one and the same for grihastha and sannyasi both.
Anything which you have other than samadhi is pain pattern.
I am learning how to practice Reiki and also do some metaphysical healing. But I do not want to charge people. I feel wrong about it, that I have to charge people to help them. I have spent a lot of money to take my training and I am worried that the money will not come back to me, especially if I cannot get over the idea that I do not want to charge them. Clarissa, first thing. Clarissa, Calgary. Where is Calgary? Yes. Clarissa, first thing, if you are confident enough about the product you are offering, any healing you are giving, any service you are giving, I will sincerely recommend you go for charging. The guilt that you are not supposed to charge is a wrong idea. You are offering your time and the service you are offering is a honest service, then you don't need to be guilty about charging money at all. Forget about this guilt and straight away take money. It is nothing wrong. Another one thing, especially like a services like a healing and all, if you take little money from them, they will have more trust on your healing. I have seen in my life, when I was giving free classes and free healing, nobody was respecting. They thought I don't have confidence on the product I am offering. Now you see, the moment I started charging, the amount of respect I am receiving. You see, earlier, I am using only 45 rupee chappal. That chappals which I am wearing are 45 rupee, plastic, rubber chappal. Earlier with that rubber chappal I used to sit and ask for 1000 rupee for Pada Puja and healing. Not a single fellow is ready to pay and they were talking all nonsense. I just created a golden chapel and now 25,000 rupee I am charging. Simply people are coming and doing the Pada Puja. But in my personal life I am wearing only 45 rupee chapel. When I walk I wear only that. This is the life. Talk to people in their language. I learnt it. I am teaching you. Come on. No, really. You see, earlier people are not ready to give 1000 rupee to wash the plastic chapel, rubber chapel. Now they are ready to pour 25,000 rupee to wash the golden chapel. Anyhow, both I am not, now golden chapel is there, but I don't put my feet at all in that. If you have seen Pada Puja, you will see. I will not be even putting my feet on that. I put my foot only on the plastic chapel, rubber chapel. I continue my life. But this is for public. Because you are not happy. Oh, what is this plastic chapel, rubber rubber chappal I have to wash paying 1,000 rupee. But you are very happy when you need to wash the golden chappal with 25,000 rupee. Great. That is the language you understand. Come on, let me speak that language to you. It is the confidence you have on the product you are offering. That's all, nothing else. So I'll sincerely recommend you to charge. And they'll also have trust over you.
I always had a big conflict with spirituality and money. Because since I was a child, I loved Jesus very much. He was a poor man born in straw.
But he is the richest man now in the world. Do you know that? World's largest wealth organizations belongs to him, run in his name.
Yes. And then there's so many sayings, only poor go to heaven, and so on and so forth.
Who wants the heaven where all the poor fellows are there? Come on. It is time to go to Vaikuntha where all the best things are available. Not the heaven where some old poor fellows sitting in their cloud. It is complete life negative ideology. See, I wanted to make it very clear. I am making a clear strategy even for my organization. Later on, when our organization becomes a big religious organization, I am making it very clear. Teach our followers to create wealth. Give them the right mental setup to create and celebrate wealth. When they create and celebrate wealth, a little bit they share with our organization, we should live with it. Don't promote poverty and suck wealth from them. No. Do not.
Swamiji, one big question comes. You spoke about God. Why is this feeling in society around the world? My God is better than your God. And why is this conflict about God? Who is this God and what is this God? There's so many people say, my God is better than your God is a lesser God, somebody is the children of a lesser God, and they all fight.
See.
And throughout human society, more death and conflicts have occurred because of this fight between gods. What is this? What is this God?
End of the day, to tell you honestly, my God is the supreme, is nothing but saying, I am supreme.
I am supreme.
See, our
So
own
God is an
ego, we
alibi.
project it on God.
God is an alibi.
God is just our projection. What we want to tell the world. It will be too obvious if we tell directly, I am superior. Then immediately we will come for a war. I don't have time for immediate war. So what to do? How to declare this in a very diplomatic way? In a very diplomatic way, to trying to declare this is what is my God is superior. The whole, if you analyze thoroughly the whole Hindu tradition, the beauty is the whole, whether it's a Upanishads, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, or the Sakta, or Ganavatya, all the Sampradayas and Paramparas, they give importance to Ishtanishta, means your God is the ultimate, and from that all the energies come out, but you do not have any right to disturb somebody else's feeling. Their Ishta is the highest.
Oh.
The Ishtanishta is never allowed to become fanaticism. See, the Ishtanishta, for example, if it is a Shiva temple, Shiva will be ultimate. All the believers of Shiva will be worshipping him. And no doubt, in Jagannath temple, Shiva is the guardian.
Guardian.
Yes.
Yes.
If you see Brahma and Shiva,
Yes, yes.
both of them stand outside as
Yes,
guardian.
yes.
In Tiruvannamalai temple, Brahma searches the Shiva's head and Vishnu searches the Shiva's feet.
Yes.
The Ishtanishta and the universality of the supreme principle both coexisted in Hindu Sampradayas. If you see, our Ishtanishta was never allowed to become fanaticism. If I go into more details and Shastra Pramanas, it is very clearly declared you have all the right to see your Ishta as the source of all the gods and goddesses, but you do not have a right to put this as a ultimate truth on others.
On others. So
It
it's
is
very
very clear.
individualistic.
It is not, we call it subjective truth.
Subjective truth.
It's a truth for the subject. It's a subjective truth. And ultimately, all Sampradayas, including Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta, all Sampradayas agree divine is beyond any forms. It is for our devotion he assumes the form. Like a water has no solid form, but when the cool breeze happens on the water, it takes the
freezes.
shape of ice.
Yes.
So our devotion gives this form. Behind this, the source has no form.
Has no form.
Source is beyond form. Our devotion gives this form. Even the greatest devotee knows the form with which he is worshipping will lose its form when he loses his form.
Oh.
See, as long as I have this form, I need a form. So I relate with it. At one point, both the forms will merge into the source. We call this Jnanavarishta Bhakti. If you see, even a common villager in Hindu tradition will have this Jnanavarishta Bhakti. If you see this, you will see in his house many gods in his puja room. I should say, the future of the humanity is not for one God religions. It is for either many God or all God religions.
All God religions. So there'll be no conflict.
Not only there can be no conflict, there can be even understandings, higher understandings evolving. Not only no conflict, there is something called higher understandings. Means each of the God is infinitely powerful, potential, and this infinity is not bound by only one. Infinite infinities.
Infinite infinities.
See, even the one God religions also accept infinity of that one God.
Yes.
Infinity of the one God is a mentally retarded theory. How can infinity be only one?
Infinity cannot be one. It is
So,
many. It's infinite.
Oneness only can be infinity,
Yes.
not one.
Yes.
So infinity is self-conflict infinity of one is a self-conflict mentally retarded theory.
Self.
See, what I am saying, infinity is the peak conception, visualization, fantasy of logic, length. When somebody's logic is very, very deep and broad, the highest he can grasp is infinity. Unfortunately, his whole energy is sucked by the intellect. He has grasped the infinity, but his heart is left with no energy. That is why he did not grasp the infinity is infinity, not one.
Not one.
When we don't have a heart, only head, we consume infinity only one. When we have enough head and enough heart, we understand infinity, infinity.
But Swamiji, it raises a very important question. Is there a God at all? Or we have created a God just to be happy, to find certainty in our lives?
For example, surely there is a higher independent intelligence which generates, operates, destroys, dilutes, liberates. There is the independent intelligent force, no doubt.
A force.
Sure, independent intelligent force available, no doubt. The many ideas of gods with which we play, those ideas may be created by us and we are playing with it. God exists, not as we define him.
God exists, but not as we define.
But not as we define him.
But it is Such a concept is very difficult for the human mind to understand. We all want to see something.
No, I should say, it is very easy for human mind to understand, very difficult for the people who have not yet evolved to be a human being, but in the human frame to understand.
Does the avatar have God, or is the avatar a manifestation of God?
I should say, avatar is the Vyakta component, means manifest component of the unmanifest God.
Of the unmanifest God.
See, avatar is the statement of God. God is the state of avatar.
Explain to us, Swamiji.
Avatar is the statement of God.
Yes.
Manifest of unmanifest.
Yes.
God is the unmanifest of the manifest.
You're essentially saying that there is a force above
Yes.
us which is all
There is
pervading.
a force, I should say, not above us, above us.
Okay.
The above us gives a different context.
Yes.
Above us
Yes.
means see, what is unmanifest in all of us? I should say not even this way. It's a this way. Or this way. It
That
is
means
like
it's everywhere.
See,
It's everything.
when I say above us, it becomes like this. Or I should say, the air we are all breathing, the space we are all in, as independent life, the source of that life is God.
There is a source.
There is a source, and it is intelligence.
But Swamiji,
It is not just power, automated mechanism or automatic mass software, like how they try to show in the Matrix movie. No. It is not a large automated matrix. No. It is an independent intelligence which can make decisions,
and very
which
large
can
decisions.
intervene.
Large decisions.
What I am saying, not only large decisions, you see, it can make the decisions as big as moving the planet Earth closer to sun or far away to sun, and it can make decisions as simple as removing one small Rudraksha from this bead. It is capable of micromanagement and macromanagement.
If it's capable of micromanagement, what is our role as human beings? Are we all Katputlis? Are we all puppets in a big puppet show where somebody is doing a superior power? Or do we have a right to decide and do things for ourselves?
Yes. Now let me, first of all, even in puppet show, puppet is not completely controlled.
Puppet is not completely
Yes.
controlled. Yes.
The bit, if the puppet, in the puppet show, if it's a 8-bit, only the 8-bit is controlled, not this bit, not this bit.
Yes. Yes.
Even in puppet show, puppets are not completely controlled. So, in our life also, we are not completely controlled and we are not completely free. There is certain amount where we have a freedom. For example, everything affects our life. We have a freedom to decide.
Full freedom.
Full freedom. Everything affects others' life, we do not have a freedom. Because others' goodness is involved in it.
So everything that affects
you-
everybody, we don't have the
We
freedom.
don't have freedom. Everything affects our life. If you sit and list out those things, all of them we have a complete control, complete freedom. It's like a cow is tied with a 2-meter rope length. Within the 2 meter, he can sit, stand, grass, do whatever he wants. Within the 2-meter length, if he behaves properly, the rope can become 10 meter or liberated once for all.
Yeah.
So within the 2 meter, how he behaves decides the length of the rope or the liberation. Same way, we are all empowered with certain freedom. Within that freedom, how much of responsibility with which we behave, that decides whether our freedom length is going to increase
Or decrease.
or decrease or once for all freed. When somebody establishes his track record, his freedom is only going to do good to others. Suddenly you see he is completely free.
No.
All the resources are at his disposal.
Everything comes to him.
Everything comes to him. All the things are under his disposal. And there is no, he doesn't feel suffocated by not having money, time, intelligence, energy, resources, anything which he wants to achieve. I am seeing very clearly. I tell you from my own experience. Whatever I want to do, I am seeing very clearly everything automatically aligns. I just have to see and enjoy the whole fun. If a power is manifesting in this body, I am already seeing the structure to reach this power to the world also gets assembled. Along with this manifestation, that structure also manifests. So I am very clear, there is a very powerful intelligence operating, and that does not mean I am sleeping. I am participating actively only to enjoy.
Only to enjoy that.
Infinity of the one God is a mentally retarded theory. How can infinity be only one?
Infinity cannot be one. It is
So,
many. It's infinite.
Oneness only can be infinity,
Yes.
not one.
Yes.
So infinity is self-conflict infinity of one is a self-conflict mentally retarded theory.
Self.
See, what I am saying, infinity is the peak conception, visualization, fantasy of logic, length. His whole energy is sucked by the intellect. He has grasped the infinity, but his heart is left with no energy. That is why he did not grasp the infinity is infinity, not one.
Not one.
When we don't have a heart, only head, we consume infinity only one. When we have enough head and enough heart, we understand infinity, infinity.
But subjective truth, please understand. When I declare Shivoham, I am Mahadeva. When I declare you are Mahadeva, you are Shiva, it is not false, it is not myth, it is subjective truth. Whoever wants to live it, for them it is truth. Understand? When I declare you are Mahadeva, when I declare I am Mahadeva, it is not myth. It is called subjective truth. When I declare you are God, when I declare I am God, it is not false. It is not myth. It is subjective truth. Whoever catches it, want to live it, for them it is truth. Understand, this whole world is suffering with the arrogance of trying to harass, abuse somebody else's subjective truth and trying to prove that as a false. Listen. Trying to prove somebody else's subjective truth as false is violence. Intellectual violence. It is terrorism. Intellectual terrorism. Please understand. Trying to prove aggressively somebody else's subjective truth as false, myth, is arrogance. If you believe you are God, you have all the right to believe, you have all the right to live like one. It is subjective truth. No one has a right to interfere into it.
No one has the right to interfere into it. Jnana Sambandhar is my Guru Parampara. Tirunavukkarasar is my Kula Parampara. Katrunai Puttiyor Kadalir Paichinum Natrunayavadu Namachivayame. Tirunavukkarasar sings, even if we are tied with the stone and thrown into the ocean, the Namah Shivaya mantra will protect us, make the stone into boat and save us. Understand, the subjective truths are not myths. Strength of the subjective truths changes your life and protects you. They are not myths. They are not false. You want hell's enrollers or Kailasa's enrichers? You decide. You decide. What do you want? I am directly connecting you to Paramashiva. Come on, I am very clear. I am telling you, directly connect with Paramashiva. Have the deity of Ganesha, have the deity of Shiva, have the deity of Paramashiva, have the deity of Vishnu, have the deity of Subramanya, have the deity of Navagrahas, have the deity of Parashakti. And I also wanted to address one more internal issue, small internal issue. It's very small, but I wanted to address. Many of the traditional Hindus were questioning me, which Sampradaya your Swamiji belongs to, which Sampradaya Nithyananda belongs to. Please understand, in Hinduism, we had various mutts, monasteries, Sampradayas. The Sarvanya Pitas were always a university where all Sampradayas were taught. I am head of the multiple traditional Sarvanya Pitas existed, and I am reviving multiple traditional Sarvanya Pitas. Understand? Madurai was Sarvanya Pita. Tiruvannamalai was Sarvanya Pita. If you see in Tiruvannamalai, Ramana Maharshi is more Vedantic tradition. Ram Surat Kumar is more Bhakta. Bhakta Sampradaya means devotion. And Seshadri Swamigal is Sakta. He is a Shakta Sampradaya person. But Arunachala itself is a Sarvanya Pita. Understand? Sarvanya Pita is like a university where all the Sampradayas of Hinduism are taught and flourished. All Hindu Sampradayas flourished. So, Nithyananda Sangha is like a Kailasa where all Hindu Sampradayas flourish. It's a Sarvanya Pita where all Hindu Sampradayas flourish. I am here to revive all Hindu Sampradayas. That is the beauty of Hinduism. Hinduism is not excluding, it includes everything, everyone, every possibility, and every Sampradaya. So I want all my disciples also to know the right answer when people question you.
Now, the Hawaiians' philosophy of life is that at birth, each of us is given a bowl, and in this bowl is what they call the true light. Remembering that the Hawaiian way of speaking is to do it in metaphors, and the bowl is a metaphor for your body. The light is you. The mountain that we are all climbing is life. Now, in this concept, what we are supposed to do on this earth in this life is nurture this light that is in the bowl. In nurturing the light, you cause your light to grow, and once you have gotten your light to grow to its fullest, you will have gained all knowledge. You will be able to fly with the birds, swim with the sharks. They also say that each and every one of us is climbing the same mountain. And as we each walk our path to get to the top of the mountain, whenever you develop negative thoughts or deeds such as anger, jealousy, or hatred, or fear, you're actually stopping on your trail. You're bending down, picking up a stone, and putting it in your bowl. If you do enough stops, you end up with a bowl full of stones. And you, like your bowl, you become a stone. You will not grow or gain any more knowledge. If at any time you wish to change, they tell you that it's really very simple. All you've got to do is turn that bowl upside down, allow the stones to fall. When you right side up the bowl, the light will be there. Begin to nurture the light. As you continue on your journey to reach the top of the mountain, what you will come to realize and understand is that you do not understand the person next to you. So whenever you sit down to discuss important subjects, opinions are going to be 180 degrees from each other. And what that means is you're right, person next to you is right, everyone is right. For opinions come from the path that we walk as we try to reach the top of the mountain. And once you've reached the top of the mountain, where you're able to walk the perimeter of the mountain, looking down on each and every trail that leads up to the top of the mountain, only then and then alone will you be able to understand the person next to you as well as the rest of the people.
So historiography in Hawaii. First of all, what's historiography? Very easy definition. Historiography is the process of the creation of history. It's not history, it's the process. So this is a history book. How did this person get this information? Who did they talk to? Who did they not talk to? Every history that's ever been written is exclusionary. Now that sounds awful, but it has to be. You cannot talk to everyone. If you're writing a book, a history of World War II, you're going to go talk to 20 million people? No. You're going to choose, right? And sometimes those choices are purposeful, sometimes they're just, you only have so much time. So in your history, did you talk mostly to older folks and not younger? Mostly men and not women? Mostly Native Americans and not these folks, or white folks and not these folks, and so forth? That all makes up your historiography. Okay? So historiography is that process. The process of the creation of history in Hawaii has been flawed for over 100 years. I call it the 6%. Approximately 95% of the published materials about Hawaii and Hawaiians comes from English language sources. 95%. That's a low estimate, I bet. If you go into the library and you pull up histories of Hawaii, and you have 100 books, at least 95 of those are going to be sourced only from English language sources. Now, does that mean it's all lies? No. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've got one part of the story. Hawaiians wrote prolifically, yeah? 100,000 pages of Hawaiian language newspapers, tens of thousands of government documents in Hawaiian, correspondences, legal documents, everything. But we haven't read those. So we've gotten the story from the ship captains, the missionary sons, and so forth. Again, not that that's wrong, but it's a tiny view. It's as if we saw a murder and there were 10 witnesses, and we went and took one person and pulled him aside and took the story and then went and wrote the report. There's 9 other witnesses, right? Hawaiians witnessed and took part in Hawaiian history, and they wrote about it. But we haven't listened to them yet until recently. So that's been one of our big problems. The 6% comes from Helen Chapin, who wrote quite a bit about Hawaiian newspapers and so forth, and she wrote that about 6% of the population was English-speaking at the time, or only English-speaking at the time of the overthrow. So you're talking about 94% of the voice that's elided.
He says, I got two more questions. He says, who is God? He says, well, that's probably the easiest question I've been asked since I started this. Now, remember I said at the beginning of this seminar, what is a thought? Hold a thought in your hand. A thought is not of this world. Okay, everyone in this room studies this word God. Matter of fact, we have 5,000 different sounds of words for the word God. It's a very unique word. Now, you also, when you study God, you also study the devil, or what evil is. So you have to, it's called perspective. You have to know what's good and you have to know what's bad. So you have an understanding of what choice is. Now, because you have choice, you can choose to be a good person or a bad person. Now, everyone in this room, you will read different books at different ages, at different times. You will talk to different people, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your ministers at the school, at the church, teachers. And all through life, you accumulate information. The end result is we all have 1,000 separate definitions that we have accumulated to answer one word. So, and that word, God, because you all have 1,000 different sources of research to answer that one word, now says that God has created man's image. Image, imagination, creation, art. So each one of you formulates your own definition based on your own subjective interpretation of your own educational capacity, your own IQ. IQ is based on the amount of percentage of your brain activity that you use for thinking. To come to a conclusion, to stand in front of a mirror, look at yourself and say, I know who God is, based on these definitions. And no one, I don't care who you are, can tell you who your God is because they weren't there for your 1,000 points of study. And everyone in this room has a different 1,000 points of study and answer the same word. And you also have 1,000 points of study to answer the bad things. What is evil? What is wrong? What is a lie? It's called perspective. So we all choose to be good. We all choose to be correct. And we all choose to stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself and say, I know who God is. And I believe in that person. Or I believe in that entity. And that's the definition of who God was. And everyone in the audience applauded. Because who is it? It's your own subjective interpretation of what you understand that word to mean, based on your ability to look yourself in the eye and say, I accept this to be the fact. And that's as simple as it gets. He says, okay, he says we all agree that that's the definition. He's got one more word for you. What do you know about women? And I says, absolutely nothing. He says, see, you can't answer every question. And 38 women stood up and said, that's the right answer. And all the and all the men in the audience applauded. Number 6 is, with the correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Okay, what does that mean? Well, there's a thing, you hear the word right, you hear the word truth. Truth is an opinion, by the way. Everybody believes in God, that's your truth, but that truth is based on your opinion of subjective interpretation, so therefore truth is an opinion. And O means no, and PIN means to attach, and ION is contract. So you have no attached contract because your subjective interpretation of your ability to communicate with any other individual is based on that other person's ability to understand what you're saying in the first place, which is babble. Because it's all adverb-verb scenario. Now, I may be talking to you in adverb-verb because that's the only language you understand. If I stood up here and talked to you and for this knowledge of this individual is with the claim of the correct parse, syntax, grammar, start using prepositional phrases, this would not jar well with your perception. And you'd kind of get lost. So it takes about 200 hours to adapt to this technology. And you will get a migraine headache because you're all brainwashed not to see an article. You might think that's a joke. It's not. Sublimic messaging through TV, radio, newspapers and magazines, school books have been there your whole life, right in front of you. We hide it in plain view, just like we hide a flag in plain view, and we cancel this contract by putting a Coke can on top of the staff, which is a phoenix in this case. If the wingtips are down, it's a phoenix. If they're up, it's an eagle, which is postal. So you can either be under postal guise or you can be under the Vatican guise. Either way, you're under somebody's guise, GUISE. It's not a disguise, it's a guise, G-U-I-S-E. Dis meaning no, guys. This means no, by the way.
Infinity of the one God is a mentally retarded theory. How can infinity be only one?
Infinity cannot be one. It is
So,
many. It's infinite.
Oneness only can be infinity,
Yes.
not one.
Yes.
So infinity is self-conflict. Infinity of one is a self-conflict mentally retarded theory.
Self.
See, what I am saying, infinity is the peak conception, visualization, fantasy of logic, length. His whole energy is sucked by the intellect. He has grasped the infinity, but his heart is left with no energy. That is why he did not grasp the infinity is infinity, not one.
Not one.
When we don't have a heart, only head, we consume infinity, only one. When we have enough head and enough heart, we understand infinity, infinity.
But simply, universe has no choice other than following me. I know for what I have come, and universe has no choice. Simply it has to follow me. If it wants the breakthrough, if it wants to exist, and universe by its nature wants to have continuous breakthroughs. Expansion is universe, understand? Expansion is universe.
Some people say we should not waste money building temples, rather we should use the same money feeding poor, building schools, hospitals, helping needy people. Unfortunately, sane people are very happy spending money building pubs, shopping malls, cinema theaters, playing IPL cricket. Why can't they use all this money helping poor people? Why target only temples? If entertainment is so important, enlightenment is more important. There are many students committing suicide in IIT and taking drugs, spoiling their life. That's where temples come into picture. Temples give spiritual knowledge, peace of mind, and purpose to our life. They also provide free food to poor people, provide employment through religious tourism. It is not just entertainment. We also need enlightenment through temples. What do you say?